Welcome to Justice Trek. My name is Ted Kilvington, and this is an audio and video log that journeys through comic book history as I discuss individual comic book stories of Star Trek, the Justice Society, and the world's greatest superheroes, the Justice League of America. Justice Trek is the only show devoted to the entirety of these great comic book series, from the 1940 debut of the JSA, the launch of the JLA and Star Trek comic books in the 1960s, and right up to comics hot off today's shelves. This show will impact you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, folks. You recall at the end of part one, I had to slip in the new change of plans, where part one was the Crisis Trek portion, where I covered the JLA JSA team ups from their debut in 1963 through the year 1978. Then I covered some of what was going on in DC Comics in that year, and some of the stuff that was building up to the 1985 Crisis on Infinite Earths event. So, I had so much great stuff to talk about that the episode went much longer than I thought. So, for purposes of your time span, your time, and the file sizes, to be honest, I decided to break up what was going to be part one into two separate parts. So now what you're going to hear now on my extended roll call for for showcase number 100, because believe me, they have a lot of characters and I had a lot to say about those characters. That's going to be part two. And then after that, we're going to cover part three, which will be the story synopsis, and then my notes and thoughts about the story itself. So hopefully we can get through that in a brief enough time to have it cover one episode. So now let's get on with the roll call for showcase number 100. Click like, click subscribe, it'll be good. See you soon. Hey, welcome back. Glad you came back, and I'm going to make this half entertaining for you. So, Showcase was an anthology title from DC Comics that was an integral part of launching characters in the Silver and early Bronze Age of comics. In fact, many people say that Showcase launched the Silver Age of comics. There's really no doubt that the appearance of the Barry Allen Flash in Showcase number 4 in 1956 inspired DC to bring back the superhero genre. Now, DC never stopped publishing superheroes. They published Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in their own comics continuously throughout the 50s. They also had, as additional features in Adventure Comics, they had stories of Green Lantern and Aquaman throughout the entire 1950s. But when they did the new updated version of Flash, DC said, hey, we should publish more superheroes, because it was just the reaction to it was so big among the fans that they decided to do more. So in 58, they launched new Lois Lane comic. They launched a new Challengers of the Unknown comic. They introduced Legion of Superheroes. They revamped Wonder Woman. Editor Mort Weisinger took over Superman. Introduced some new writers, former writers of Captain Marvel, and made significant changes to the Superman books. So definitely by 1958, DC was changing how they approach superheroes. And then in 1959, in Showcase, they brought in the new Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. That year, they also introduced Supergirl. They gave Flash his own ongoing series. They even introduced, they changed the Martian Manhunter from his premise when he started in 1955 was basically an undercover alien detective. In other words, he was an undercover police detective who, unbeknownst to his fellow policemen, was actually a Martian in disguise. but for the most part, it was, a detective story. But in 1959, DC switched to have him become more of a traditional superhero. And then at the end of 59, they launched the Justice League of America. And they would launch more superhero concepts and non-superhero concepts in the pages of Showcase throughout the 60s and early 70s. They launched so many different characters that when Showcase number 100 was being published in 1978, DC decided rather than introducing another character, we would celebrate the legacy of characters that they had introduced or featured. Because some of the characters that were featured in Showcase had already appeared, like Aquaman. They would just have one giant adventure that would team up all of them. But of course, some of them came from different Earths or different timelines, and DC had to create a story concept that would allow them to have all these different characters interact. So it'll be one big adventure that would span time and space and even parallel worlds. So I'm going to get into some depth, more depth than I have been, about the characters that appeared in Showcase number 100. First up, of course, is The Flash. He was created by Robert Kanigher and Carmine Infantino. His first appearance was in Showcase number 4, published July 5th, 1956, with an October cover date. Police scientist Barry Allen operates out of Central City and fights crime with his superhuman speed, which he manipulates in clever and creative ways. His costume, I'm not going to describe his costume because you'll see it on the page. I'm not even going to make this episode available on Podbean, so if you're basically look at the screen if you want to see what these characters look like. Flash was the featured character in Showcase issues number 4, 8, 13, and 14. Next up, we have his fellow Justice League member, Green Lantern, created by John Broome and Gil Kane. First appearance in Showcase number 22, published July 28, 1959, with an October cover date. Barris aircraft test pilot Hal Jordan possesses a power ring capable of generating hard light constructs of an emerald hue. The ring's energy, which is powerless against the color yellow, is derived from an alien camping-style lantern, and the ring must be charged every 24 hours. Hal is a Caucasian who operates out of Coast City, and he was the featured character in Showcase issue number 22, 23, and 24. Next up, we have Aquaman, created by Mort Weisinger and Paul Norris. First appearance in More Fun Comics number 73, cover date November, on sale date September 25th, 1941. Arthur Curry was the son of the unlikely pairing of an Atlantean refugee and a lighthouse keeper on the U.S. East Coast. Due to his parentage, Aquaman can breathe both water and air, he can swim at superhuman speeds, survive the pressure of deep sea depths, and communicate telepathically with both Atlanteans, sea creatures, and telepaths. Aquaman was the featured character in Showcase numbers 30 through 33. Next, we have the Atom, created by Gardner Fox and Gil Kane. First appearance in Showcase number 34, published July 27th, 1961, with an October cover date. College professor and physicist Ray Palmer found a fragment of a white dwarf star, which he used to create a head-to-toe blue and red size and weight changing costume that he used to fight crime. Atom was the featured character in Showcase issues 34 through 36. Also introduced in Showcase, Adam Strange. Yes, that's his real name. He was created by Gardner Fox and Mike Sikowski. First appearance in Showcase number 17. Adam Strange was an archaeologist who was suddenly teleported via a Zeta beam from Peru on Earth to the planet Ran. He was called on to protect the new planet Ran from extraterrestrial threats using Ran's advanced technology. Adam Strange grew to care for the planet and its inhabitants. He eventually married a Ranian citizen, his wife Alana. He wears a jetpack, he carries a ray gun in an orange holster, and he was the featured character in Showcase issues 17 through 19. Next, we have the Teen Titans, created by Bob Haney and Bruno Premiani. Their first appearance was in The Brave and the Bold, number 60, published April 29th, 1965, with a July cover date. The Teen Titans were founded as a group of sidekicks to members of the Justice League. The members of the Titans at that time were Robin, Kid Flash, Aqualad, and Wonder Girl. The Teen Titans were the featured characters in Showcase number 59. See, Aqualad was created by Robert Bernstein and Ramona Fradon. First appearance in Adventure Comics number 269, published December 31st, 1959, with a February cover date. Garth was the Atlantean protege of Aquaman, who has the ability to survive the depths and temperatures of the ocean, as well as limited telepathic and magic abilities. Next, we have Robin, created by Bill Finger, Jerry Robinson, and Bob Kane. First appearance in Detective Comics number 38, published March 5th, 1940, with an April cover date. Child circus acrobat Dick Grayson was raised by Bruce Batman Wayne after the death of his parents. As a Dark Knight detective sidekick, Robin the Boy Wonder fought crime with his acrobatic and hand-to-hand fighting skills. Wonder Girl, created by Robert Kanigher, Ross Andrew, Bob Haney, and Marv Wolfman. I mentioned that because the basic identity of the character of Wonder Girl has evolved over time. And so all four of those had done some shape in developing Wonder Girl's identity. First appearance as Wonder Girl in Wonder Woman number 123, published May 11th, 1961, with a July cover date. Now, you may hear that Wonder Girl first appeared in the first appearance of the Teen Titans in The Brave and the Bold number 60. But there is a school of thought, which I support, which says that there were issues of Wonder Woman in the early 60s where Wonder Girl appeared as the teenage version of Wonder Woman. And in many stories, actually, she would travel through time so that the teenage Wonder Woman, would be teaming up with the adult Wonder Woman. And sometimes even, the toddler version, Wonder Tot. So you might have a time-traveling adventure with Wonder Tot, Wonder Girl, and Wonder Woman. All three different versions in time of the same character. However, in a few of those stories, including issue 123, Wonder Girl had a distinct identity that was different from Wonder Woman. I mean, Wonder Woman was Wonder Girl, so she, of course, would remember anything about the Wonder Girl character. Wonder Girl was developing memories and having experiences that were very distinct from Wonder Woman. Now, in other stories published after that date, they would say that, yes, the Wonder Girl was the Wonder Woman, but in some stories, they were distinct. And Wonder Woman 123 from 61 was the first of those stories where they said Wonder Girl was distinct, a character from Wonder Woman. Now, Donna Troy was a human girl who had the power of flight as well as superhuman strength, speed, and endurance. Kid Flash, another member of the Titans, was created by John Broome and Carmine Infantino. First appearance in Flash number 110, published October 20th, 1959, with a January cover date. Wally West was the protege of Barry Allen, the second superhero speedster known as the Flash. Wally was standing next to Barry when an electrochemical explosion imbued the lad with his mentor's powers, which include super speed, ranging from the speed of sound to faster than the speed of light, to control over his molecules. Finally, the final member of the Titans, well, actually not the final member of the Titans, but we'll get into that. We have Speedy of the Titans, created by Mort Weisinger and George Papp. First appearance in More Fun Comics number 73, published September 25th, 1941, with a November cover date. That was also the same issue where Aquaman first appeared. Growing up the protege of the superhero archer Green Arrow, Roy Harper took the name Speedy and fights crime with his bow and trick arrows. We had The Metal Men, created by Robert Kanigher and Ross Andru. First appearance in Showcase number 37, published January 30th, 1962, with an April cover date. Created by scientist Dr. Will Magnus, the Metal Men are a group of 6 androids, each of whom had unique personalities and abilities that corresponded to a specific metal. The members were the masculine gold, tin, lead, iron, and the red mercury, and the feminine platinum. The Metal Men were the featured characters of Showcase numbers 37 through 40. Next, we have Rip Hunter, created by Jack Miller and Ruben Morera. Actually, what was getting this character, Rip Hunter, confused with Rip Carter in my previous episode, where we covered Brave and the Bold number 9 from 2007. Rip Carter was the adult supervisor of the group of boy adventurers during World War II known as the Boy Commandos. Anywho, Rip Hunter first appeared in Showcase number 20, published March 17, 1959, with a June cover date. Time-traveling explorer Ripley Hunter went on many adventures in his spherical time machine. Rip Hunter is a blonde man who wears a green jumpsuit with red trim, and he was the featured character in Showcase number 20, 21, 25, and 26. Hawk and Dove. These are also members of the Teen Titans, created by Steve Ditko and Steve Skates. A first appearance in Showcase number 75, published April 25th, 1968, with a June cover date. The hot-tempered, conservative, brunette Caucasian Hank Hall and his mild-mannered, blonde Caucasian liberal brother, Don Hall, were given superpowers and costumes by a mysterious voice who had commanded them to fight injustice. The Hawk and the Dove were the featured characters in Showcase number 75. Johnny Thunder, created by Robert Kanigher and Alex Toth. First appearance in All-American Comics number 100, published June 18, 1948, with an August cover date. This is not the member of the Justice Society. This is a distinct Johnny Thunder, although he also existed on Earth 1, not to be confused with the villain Johnny Thunder, who I mentioned earlier, who had appeared in Justice League in the mid-60s. This Johnny Thunder was actually John Tane. He had a secret identity, even though he was in the Old West. He wasn't a cowboy. He was a school teacher in Mesa City, Arizona. He wanted to fight crime like his late sheriff father, but he made a vow to his mother to avoid gunfights. So, in order to give the appearance of adhering to the vow he made to his mother, John Tane didn't get in gunfights. So he just dressed up as Johnny Thunder, and then he got in gunfights. So basically, he lied to his mom. He broke his vow to his mom. And I'm recording this the day after Mother's Day. Let's see. Johnny Thunder appeared in Showcase number 72. He was not the featured character. It was actually the feature of that issue was like, I think, Top Guns of the West. So they had like different stories with different Western characters. Next up, we have Anthro, created by Howie Post. First appearance in Showcase number 74, published March 12, 1968, with a May cover date. Anthro was the first human boy, as his parents and all his ancestors were Cro-Magnon cave women. Cave women? Well, some of his ancestors were cave women, some of them were cavemen. Anthro was the featured character of Showcase number 74. Sergeant Rock, created by Robert Kanigher and Joe Kubert, and maybe Bob Haney and Ross Andru. First appearance in Our Army at War number 81, published February 3rd, 1959, with an April cover date. Frank Rock was a master sergeant serving as part of the United States Army subunit known as Easy Company during World War II. Sergeant Rock typically wore olive drab military combat fatigues with a dark green combat helmet and black boots, and he usually had a .30 caliber machine gun ammunition belt. He was the featured character in Showcase number 45. Now, Fred Farrell, created by Arnold Drake and John Prentice. Fred Farrell was a firefighter who made his one and only prior appearance in Showcase number 1. Published January 25th, 1956, with an April cover date. Enemy Ace, the same guy who met with the Justice League's 1978 team up with the JSA. He was created by Robert Kanigher and Joe Kubert. First appearance in Our Army at War, number 151, published December 3rd, 1964, with a February cover date. Baron Hans von Hammer was an extremely principled German military officer, pilot, and ace during the First World War who flew a Fokker triplane. He typically wore forest green khakis. He was the featured character in Showcase issues 57 and 58. Now here's a character who definitely didn't first appear in Showcase. Lois Lane, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. First appearance in Action Comics number 1, published May 3rd, 1938, with a June cover date. Crusading reporter Lois Lane works for the Daily Planet newspaper. Lois Lane was the featured character in Showcase numbers 9 and 10. The Creeper, created by Steve Ditko and Don Segal. First appearance in Showcase number 73, published January 23rd, 1968, with an April cover date. Television opinion show host Jack Ryder was given the ability to turn into a creature with super strength. In his creature form, he has yellow skin, green and black striped trunks, green hair, a red feather boa, red gloves, and red boots. The Creeper was the featured character of Showcase number 73. Next, we have the Challengers of the Unknown, created by Jack Kirby and Dave Wood. First appearance in Showcase number 76, published November 6, 1956, with a February cover date. Wrestling champion Rocky Davis, skin diver Professor Walter Haley, Daredevil Red Ryan, and jet pilot Ace Morgan were 4 men who had all cheated death and decided that since they were all living on borrowed time, they should band together to challenge the unknown. Later joined by a 5th adventurer named June Robbins, the Challengers were the featured characters of Showcase issues 6, 7, 11, and 12. Space Ranger, created by Edmund Hamilton, Gardner Fox, and Bob Brown. First appearance in Showcase number 15, published May 20th, 1958, with an August cover date. Rick Starr was a space-traveling adventurer from Earth in the 22nd century who travels with his shape-shifting alien sidekick, Krill. Space Ranger was the featured character in Showcase number 15 and number 16. Windy Wiggs and Willie Newton. Created as Dobie Gillis and Maynard G. Krebs by Max Schulman, and then later ripped off as Windy and Willie by Arnold Drake and Bob Oxner. Now, okay, this is getting very convoluted, folks. Please bear with me. While I was trying to find out more about Windy and Willie, I really went down a rabbit hole, and after spending hours just researching these 2 characters, I'm like, okay, I got to use this on the show because I can't let all that time go to waste. So, Dobie Gillis first appeared in a short prose story in the June 1945 issue of the magazine Good Housekeeping. In those stories, Dobie was a college student. Over the next few years, a variety of short prose Dobie Gillis stories were published in a variety of magazines such as Cosmopolitan and the Saturday Evening Post. And those short stories were collected in the 1951 book, The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. The Dobie stories were then adapted into the 1953 film, The Affairs of Dobie Gillis. And in that film, Dobie was played by Bobby Van. Dobie first appeared on television on The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Season 1, Episode 1 aired on September 29th, 1959 on the CBS television network. That issue had Dobie appear as a high school student, played by actor Dwayne Hickman, and in that episode they introduced the teenage beatnik character, Dobie's pal, Maynard G. Krebs, played by Bob Denver, before he became more famous for playing Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. Dobie and Maynard first appeared in comic book form in the DC Comics adaptation, The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, number 1, published March 8th, 1960, with a June cover date. Now, the 26th and final issue of that series was redrawn to have the clothing, character names, topical references, all more appropriate for the late 60s, when Windy and Willie appeared in Showcase number 81 on January 23rd, 1969, with a March cover date. Now, in addition to Windy and Willie being based on Dobie and Maynard, the characters of Fred and Shaggy on the 1969 debut cartoon series Scooby-Doo, they were also based on Dobie and Maynard. Batlash, created by Sergio Aragonés and Nick Cardy. First appearance in Showcase number 76, published June 13th, 1968, with an August cover date. Bartholomew Aloysius Lash was a blonde Caucasian lover, gambler, and gunfighter, in that order, in the American West of the late 1800s, and he was the featured character in Showcase number 76. Next, we have Sam Simeon and Angel O'Day, created by John Albano and Robert Oxner. First appearances in Showcase number 77, published July 25th, 1968, with a September cover date. Sam Simeon is an intelligent ape who wears a business suit and a fedora. Angel O'Day is a white-haired Caucasian woman wearing contemporary business clothing. Together, the two of them run a private detective agency. Sam Simeon and Angel O'Day, as Angel and the Ape, were the featured characters in Showcase number 77. Next, we have the Inferior Five, created by Edward Nelson Bridwell and Joe Orlando. First appearance in Showcase number 62, published March 24th, 1966, with a June cover date. The five children of the superhero team known as the Freedom Brigade were not as gifted at crime fighting as their parents, but wanted to try anyway. The five were Merryman, aka the highly intelligent Myron Victor, who dressed like a purple court jester. We had the obese flyer known as the Blimp, aka Herman Kramer. The clumsy but super strong awkward man, aka Leander Brent. We had the shy and timid archer known as the White Feather, aka William King, who wore beige tights. And then we had the stupid but super strong dumb bunny, aka Athena Tremor. The Inferior Five were the featured characters in Showcase issues 62, 63, and 65. And if you didn't catch on it, some of those characters were basically takeoffs on DC heroes, such as, Awkward Man, Clark Kent, Leander Brent. Instead of Oliver Queen as the archer, we have William King as their archer, and we have Wonder Woman, who's always shouting things like praying to Athena, the goddess Athena. Well, Dumb Bunny was a super strong person named Athena, and of course Wonder Woman was in love with Steve Trevor, and Athena's name was Tremor. Next we have Bertram Binky Biggs Jr., created by Hal Seeger, Sheldon Meyer, and Bob Oxner. First appearance in Leave It to Binky #1, published December 26, 1947, with a March cover date. Binky is a brunette teenage boy who wears contemporary teenage boy clothing. He also has kind of a goofy kind of charm with the ladies. And he was the featured character in Showcase number 70. Up next, we have Tommy Tomorrow, created by Howard Sherman and Virgil Finlay. First appearance in Real Fact Comics #4, published November 13th, 1946, with a February cover date. Thomas Tomorrow will be a blonde Caucasian, and he will be a member of the Space Planeteers, an interstellar military corps in the 25th century. Tommy was the featured character of Showcase numbers 41, 42, 44, 46, and 47, making him the character who appeared in the most issues of Showcase. Although, now that I think about it, Aqualad may actually beat that. He wasn't a featured character, but he probably appeared in all 4 issues that Aquaman appeared in, plus the issue the Teen Titans appeared in, plus the issue 100. Next, we have Firehair, created by Joe Kubert, first appearance in Showcase number 85, published July 24th, 1969, with a September cover date. The red-headed young Caucasian man with an unknown birth name was raised by Native Americans in the early 1800s, and he was the featured character in Showcase issues 85, 86, and 87. The Sea Devils were created by Robert Kanigher and Russ Heath, first appearance in Showcase number 27, published May 26, 1960, with an August cover date. Dane Dorrance, Biff Bailey, Judy Walton, and Nick Walton were Caucasian adventurers who explored the Earth's undersea realms with a determination and their sea diving equipment. They were the featured characters of Showcase issues 27 through 29. Dolphin, created by J. Scott Pike, first appeared in Showcase number 79, published October 22nd, 1968, with a December cover date. The white-haired Caucasian woman with no known name was an underwater adventurer who could breathe underwater on her own. She wears a light blue blouse and a short blue cutoff pants, and nothing else. She was the featured character of Showcase number 79. The Phantom Stranger was created by John Broome and Carmine Infantino. First appearance in Phantom Stranger number 1, published June 27th, 1952, with an August-September cover date. Debate has raged for decades about who the white-haired Caucasian man, wearing a black fedora, black suit, black cape, black shoes, white turtleneck, and gold medallion actually is. But his origins, superhuman abilities, and even his name are shrouded in mystery. No one knows if he is human or ghost, and no one is his friend. For to all, he is a phantom stranger. The Phantom Stranger was the featured character in Showcase number 80. All right, last, not least, The Spectre, created by Jerry Siegel and Bernard Bailey. First appearance in More Fun Comics number 52, published January 2nd, 1940, with a February cover date. Jim Corrigan was a police detective who was killed by mobsters, and his body was dumped in a river with the proverbial cement overshoes. However, he was resurrected by a supernatural voice which granted him many undefined, powerful, ghostly abilities, as well as a mission to fight evil. The Spectre was the featured character in Showcase number 100. The Spectre was the featured character in Showcase number 60, number 61, and number 64. Okay, I'm going to call it a night. Remember, we have previous episodes available for your viewing and listening pleasure, such as episode 7, where I discussed 2 Black Hawk stories as part of our Justice Trek Presents Black Hawk episode. Episode 8, the JLMA crossover, where I covered 2007's The Brave and the Bold number 9. Also, be on the lookout for our upcoming episodes, such as episode 9.2, where I talk about the story in the comic, Showcase number 100. And be on the lookout for episode 10, where I will cover 2022's Star Trek number 400 from IDW Comics. We got some really good Star Trek comics that they're being published by IDW now, folks. And as part of the Trek portion of Justice Trek, I'm really looking forward to discussing those great Trek comics with you. So, please click like, please click subscribe, and keep on Justice Trekkin'. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to send them to me on Twitter under the handle @JusticeTrek, or via email at thejusticetrek@gmail.com. Be sure to include the word "the" at the beginning of the email address. For research purposes, I rely heavily on dc.fandom.com, memory-alpha.fandom.com, comicvine.gamespot.com, the Grand Comics Database at comics.org, and Mike Boyle's website, Mike's Amazing World of DC Comics at dcindexes.com. The opinions expressed are solely those of the host and any participants. This podcast is not a commercial enterprise and does not make any money. All copyrights are held by their respective owners. The opening sequence was animated by Craig Smith of Phoenix Studios. The opening music is Dragon Slayer by the Makai Symphony. All music used is either public domain and/or not protected by copyright. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Wow, what a roll call. I just had so much great stuff to talk about. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to make it entertaining enough for you, and informative, obviously. But I try to present information in a more lively fashion so that it's again, enjoyable. I don't want it to be an encyclopedia article or some boring lecture. I want it to talk about some of the great stuff that's been going on with these great characters. So that was part 2. Next up, we're going to cover the actual story, the plot of the Showcase number 100, and then I'll get into my notes and thoughts about Showcase number 100. So, click like, click subscribe, stick around for part 3. And this story is wild, and when I talk about it, you will understand why I say it was an inspiration for the 1985 Crisis on Infinite Earths event. Click like, click subscribe, keep on Justice Trekking.